Добрый день, уважаемые дамы и господа.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, President Niinistö, Your Excellency, President Johannesson, let me welcome all of you cordially to the Russian Federation to Arkhangelsk. For the second time, the capital of Russian North has been hosting Arctic the Territory of Dialogue event, and it's quite symbolic, because Arkhangelsk has historic ties with token developments and names that discovered the high latitudes and their pathways to the world. One of the Arctic Jubilees is marked this year. I'm referring to the 85th Jubilee since the famous expedition by Otto Schmidt that for the first time covered distance from Arkhangelsk to the Pacific Ocean in one navigation slot and a late foundation for regular maritime navigation along the coast of Siberia, which is the legendary Northern Sea route. Nowadays, the Arctic region's importance is ever growing. It's becoming a hotspot for unflagging attention by different countries and nations. It's also a region the well-being of which defines, to a large extent, the sentiment of all the planet. It's a storehouse of unique nature, which is pristine, and it's a territory with huge and colossal economic potential. It's of significance to preserve the Arctic region as a space for constructive dialogue creation and equal footing interaction. And our forum is meant to make a significant contribution to that end. And today's topic is Man in the Arctic. It brings together high-profile academia, entrepreneurs and politicians, becoming a platform for serious expert talk about the present and the future of the Arctic. And this is what we intend. We want to seek and find new forms of practical interaction. Your expert assessments initiatives matter a lot for the Arctic Council, that for 20 years has been a sample of efficient tool of international cooperation not subject to external circumstances. Russia, accounting for 1/3 of the Arctic zone, is aware of its special responsibility. Our goal is to provide for the sustainable development for the Arctic. That includes modern infrastructures, tapping of resources, industrial development, raising the living standards of indigenous peoples of the North, and preserving their singular and distinctive cultures and traditions, relishing and treating them with care, I mean the government. And these goals should not be viewed separately from the matters of preserving biodiversity and fragile Arctic ecosystems. I'm pleased to note that the protection of polar and Arctic nature is among the international key priorities in the region, as well as the scientific cooperation. Here we should recall another important anniversary, 80 years since the kickoff of the floating Soviet station North Pole. And today its current successor, the Polar Research Unit Barno, is a home for many researchers from all over the world. Cooperation of scientists is important given the scale and of the territory and the dimensions of the plans of developing the region, including major international projects. One of the examples to cite is the Yamal LNG project, comprising 7 participating nations. The Russian Federation believes that the Arctic region is not fraught with conflict potential. International rules and norms clearly prescribe and spell out the rights of coastal and other nations, and they are a solid foundation for joint work to resolve all sorts of issues, including such sensitive ones as demarcation of continental shelf continental shelf zones and limitation thereof in the Arctic Ocean, and the prevention of unregulated fishing in the central part that borders on the exceptional economic areas of the United States, Canada, Denmark, Norway, and the Russian Federation. I reiterate, Russia is open for constructive cooperation, providing all the conditions for efficient development. We have quite an extensive economic program to develop the Arctic region for many years to come, comprising more than 150 projects with the total investments of trillions of rubles. Most importantly, we'll support initiatives that have the multiplicative effect for the Arctic region and our country in particular, including the PSP and pivotal development zone areas, which are regarded by us not as territories, but as a list of interrelated, mutually complementary projects that want governmental support mechanisms. These and other measures will be included into the new version of our state program to develop the Arctic zone of Russia. I'm referring to shaping a string of state-of-the-art S&T solutions that are relevant in the extreme conditions of this region of Russia, enhancing environmental monitoring and tapping offshore deposit. We have been paying unflagging attention to the Northern Sea route that I already mentioned. Changed ice patterns and the advent of new ice breakers and vessels turn it into an all-year-round road which comes in near future. It's quite efficient and reliable road with huge potential to unlock for both domestic and global economy. I asked the government to look into establishment of a separate structure to be able to be in charge of the integrated development of the Northern Sea route and pivotal territories, including infrastructures, hydrography, security, management, and all necessary services. We invite all our international colleagues to actively capitalize on the capacities of the Northern Sea route that will reduce their costs and the timelines of cargo deliveries and shipments from Europe to Asia. We are aware that in order to make this corridor competitive and uniform and relevant for all types of cargo, from commodities to containers, a most favorable environment should be provided to carriers in line with the state-of-the-art and national standards. By way of conclusion, I'd like to thank all the participants of the forum for the constructive discussions of theirs with respect to the Arctic issues, for caring about its future, the future of this region. And special gratitude to my colleagues and counterparts, presidents of Finland and Iceland, that have been able to find time to attend this event in person. Such broad and high-profile international representation is a good sign and token of political will of Arctic and other nations to maintain the Arctic as a space of peace, stability, and mutually beneficial cooperation. I thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen.